What are you going to teach them, Frank? How to flunk out of school and go to prison?
I'm more than qualified.
Moral inconsistency. It's something that every single person on this planet has been guilty of at least once. And you know what? That's okay. Surprisingly, we as humans do not have the best track record at being perfect. With that being said, however, there are a few positions where I feel like consistent moral inconsistency is maybe not so good. And one of those positions is being a giant YouTuber who goes around telling people what the correct morals are. Ring any bells? That's right, boys and girls. Today we are talking about everybody's favorite character from a galaxy far, far away, Dar Binks. And one of his recent videos, Evil Karen calls cops on bikers. She lives to regret it. And honestly, it is one of the just kidding. It's not one of the worst Dhar Mann videos I've ever seen. Probably not even top 3. You see, I've finally made peace with the fact that I do not always have to justify making a Dhar Mann video by saying it's the worst ever, because you know what? Sometimes I just like to talk about bad Dhar Mann videos, ladies and gentlemen, and that's okay. But as you might have guessed by the intro, this video is one of the worst examples of Dhar Mann's morally inconsistent scripts. There's a bunch of things that don't really make sense going together, coupled with a lot of pandering, which really make for an artificial feeling situation. Now, I suppose that is nothing really new, but I feel like it's a bit worse in this video, and I think you'll agree. Let's begin. Please subscribe.
Watch where you're going, kid.
Luke. Is this what I told you? Don't play in the street.
I wasn't. Well, just... Hey, cool bike.
Thanks, little buddy. I'm Frank. My mom and I moved in.
I know you guys can't see me, but boy am I rubbing my hands together because it's my favorite time. It's nitpicking time, baby. So you guys live in a shared driveway situation home, yet you don't know the guy who just moved in next door? I don't buy it.
And you are?
Late for doing his homework.
What?
Well, you should listen to your mom, but if you ever want to check out the bike, you know where to find me.
Don't be so...
Not happening. I said to go into the house right now. Stay away from my son. You hear me? I don't want him getting involved in whatever it is you do.
All right, guys, it is time for trivia. Leave your answer in the comments, and you better not cheat, okay? I'll know. What is the life lesson of this video going to be? A, treat everybody with kindness because you never know what they're going through. B, don't judge a book by its cover. Or C, bald biker men deserve love too.
What in the world? Gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
I didn't get you.
Did a good job.
Excuse me. Hey, what do you think you're doing?
I was just having some friends over.
Yeah, well, the whole neighborhood heard your friends.
All right, so I am slightly conflicted here. So on one hand, I agree with the Karen. Now look, I have a car with a V8 engine and a custom exhaust setup. Starting that up on a cold winter morning sounds like a small bomb went off in my driveway. It's disrespectful. There are certain times I won't start that car before and after. Now, if it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, well, sorry, you're gonna hear it. But there is definitely something to be said about revving a motorcycle through a neighborhood at night. Is it sometimes unavoidable? Sure, and that's okay. But just be respectful. Even as a car guy, I gotta admit, 9 out of 10 times the saying is true. Nobody wants to hear your car. I used to live on a very long, straight section of road that people often use for drag racing, and I'll be the first one to tell you that it gets really old at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Whoops. Were the bikes too loud when we came in?
You think?
We're sorry about that. We'll keep the noise down.
Yeah, well, some of us have children that are trying to sleep. They have school, you know. And the rest of us have real jobs to get to in the morning. So I'm not too sure why we have to be inconvenienced so you can have, what, a gang meet up and sell drugs?
Whoa. You know, you really shouldn't judge someone before you get to know them. We're not in a gang.
Alright, how many of y'all said B? You win absolutely nothing. Now this is something that carries a lot of Dhar Mann's writing, and I'm sure there's like some sort of English paper term for it out there. But basically, he will try and make one action look good or excusable by making somebody else do something worse. And well, that really doesn't work. No, this woman should not be accusing these guys of selling drugs for no reason, but they should also not be revving their bikes through a neighborhood at night. Just because she said this does not make the revving any better, but the way it's written, it's clear that it's intended to.
We're definitely not selling drugs. They came over because we're having a bike rally next weekend.
Great. Just what the neighborhood needs. Look, buddy, you want to live here? Then get with the program. You wake up me or my son again, and I'm calling the cops. Got it?
I really do feel for people who have neighbors like this. Yeah, a revving bike is annoying, but this is not the way to handle it. I've talked about my crazy neighbor that I had in middle school many times before. If you've never experienced a bad neighbor, consider yourself lucky. There's really nothing like it.
Did you hear about Susan's divorce? No. I heard that she left him.
Really?
Yeah.
Poor Luke. To be raised in a home without a father? What's she thinking?
Well, I don't know, but someone like that shouldn't be leading the PTA.
Not only is this just some really weird dialogue, I cannot for the life of me figure out why Dhar Mann felt the need to include it. There's literally no need for this information throughout the entire story. Maybe Dhar Mann just wanted to express that he feels like only women should be initiating divorces or vice versa. Don't really see any other purpose.
Yo, check out that bike.
It's here too. Unbelievable. This is supposed to be a safe place for our children.
I have an appointment.
Do you even have a child that goes to this school?
No.
Exactly. So may I suggest that you leave before I call campus security? I have no idea why you're here.
One thing that I will say Dhar Mann did get right is this does seem like a pretty average PTA president. Every single year of my elementary school, the PTA president always treated their job like they were the real president.
I'm meeting with Principal Owens. I saw online they're looking for a new teacher, so I thought I'd apply.
Right. You. A teacher. What are you going to teach them, Frank? How to flunk out of school and go to prison?
Alright, so obviously this is a pretty harsh confrontation, but Dhar Mann is going to really sort of weaken the effectiveness of this in about 2 minutes.
Listen to me. I am president of the PTA, and there is no way that I or any of the other parents here will stand for someone like you teaching our children.
I have my teaching credentials. I may not look like the other teachers, but I can assure you I'm more than qualified.
Just because you're qualified on paper doesn't mean you belong. Now, you may be fooling everybody else with your collared shirt and your dress slacks, but I know the real you.
Okay, so I've met some people who are very, very unpleasant to be around, but this seems just a tad over the top to me. I mean, really, I know the real you. You've spoken to this man 3 times, including this one. I feel like even the Karenist Karen would not be saying something like this. Sure, they might be saying you shouldn't be teaching here, but really, I know the real you. I don't know, that just stood out to me as a bit over the top.
And I intend to tell Principal Owens exactly who you are. Thank you so much, Principal Owens. I'm so relieved that we're on the same page when it comes to what's best for our children. Yeah, well, there is no way a person like that should be in a position of influence in our classrooms.
This is another creative decision that stood out to me as weird. Like, yeah, this woman's a Karen, but nobody around her is disagreeing with anything she's saying. I feel like that should kind of be addressed. The principal, the 2 ladies at the school. I mean, nobody's objecting to this. Is this just normal? I mean, you could make this a life lesson about how you shouldn't just stand by when you see discrimination, but no, we're going with a fresh, brand new, never seen before. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah. All right, okay. All right, thank you again. Oh, Luke. Luke, honey, what did I tell you about playing in the street? Luke, car! Look out!
I know this is probably not supposed to be funny, but it's absolutely hilarious to me that they didn't even have this guy still looking at his phone. This guy is looking dead into this child's eyes and just flooring it.
Where am I?
You're awake.
Wait. The boy, is he okay?
Yeah.
And I would imagine you are too, considering that car was maybe going 2 miles per hour by the time it hit you. It really just looked like it stopped moving, but hey, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. So I'm gonna save you from having to listen to the classic Dhar Mann sob story. So basically, this guy did go to prison for dealing drugs, no less. He was set up by a motorcycle gang, got caught, and did 5 years in prison. That is really all you need to know, but for some reason it takes him 5 minutes to explain it, which is kind of funny to me because, like, yeah, you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, but this lady kinda nailed it. Also, you can't be a teacher when you're a felon. So this entire video is sort of contradictory, and like none of the plot points really make sense because they either can't happen or the reason they're bad is sort of minimized by something else. It's just a whole lot of silliness. But hey, it's Dhar Mann.
So you see, I did all those things you accused me of, but that was a long time ago. And I've turned my life around since then. Even though nobody else seems to think so. Even Principal Owens turned me down.
Frank, that was because of me.
That's okay.
No, not really. If all it took was one phone call, then I'm assuming the principal was not gonna hire him anyways. You know, probably because it's kind of against the law. Not necessarily saying I agree with it, but it is the facts. These videos are based in California, and like most states in California, if you are convicted of dealing drugs, you cannot be a teacher.
Frank, you are such a wonderful person. And I assumed so many bad things about you. And the worst part is, I know how that feels. To be misjudged by others, and yet I still did it to you.
You do?
Yeah, maybe not on your level, but I left Luke's father a few months ago, and I never told anybody why. I didn't want them to know that.
It's okay if you don't want to talk about it.
My reasons, but they still blame me.
See, this is a problem I run into a lot with Dhar Mann. He's always so close. Like in most of his videos, he's close to something. Like this is a relatively good idea, a relatively good moment. Somebody realizing that they shouldn't judge others based on preconceived notions because they know how it feels to be judged that way. But why does it have to occur in this fashion? Just make it a normal, everyday situation, not the big bad biker man fresh out of prison who just came to town, who ends up saving the son of the Karen by pushing him out of traffic. I mean, come on. It's just impossible to take it seriously.
Who is that?
That's the new 6th grade teacher.
Teacher.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
I heard he used to do drugs and be part of the gang. I can't believe Owens approved that.
He did. And I made sure of it.
You had something to do with this?
You can't seriously be okay with someone like that teaching our kids. I mean, come on,
Hey,
Susan.
Mom, guess what Mr. Stevens said? Next week, we're going on a field trip to help feed the homeless.
Can you, spell pandering? Now look, I know someone's gonna comment it, so yes, obviously, feeding the homeless is a very good and noble thing to do, but have you ever heard of a single elementary school on the planet doing that as a field trip on a brand new teacher's first week? Dhar Mann, why?
You are? Aw. Well, Mr. Stevens is doing an amazing job. And I guess it's true what they say. You really shouldn't judge someone before you get to know them. And by the way, ladies, I did leave my husband. And for a very good reason. Not that it's any of your business. But if I were you two, I would worry more about your own husbands. David!
What? Sure. Hello?
Maybe I'm just out of the loop, but is it a crime or cheating to talk to what looks like a teacher at your child's school? Why does every Dhar Mann video have to end with this silly gotcha joke? They're talking to a teacher. Well, guys, what did you think? Like I said, it's not the worst Dhar Mann video I've ever seen, but it's definitely just a bunch of weird writing. Now, I know it's never gonna happen because it's not really the brand Dhar Mann is going for anymore, but I'd really like to see a return to the simple, realistic, at least somewhat believable situations where normal things happen, and even if they were kind of silly, you could kind of understand what they were going for. This, it's impossible for me to take it seriously. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and walk on over to that subscribe button and touch it. It's free. It won't cost you anything. But for now, that's all I have for you today. Bye.
Subscribe.